and welcome to this Impact Video User Guide. In this video, we'll be going through part 2 of our initial training. We'll be going through various tenant management programs, showing you how to easily set up and maintain your tenants, as well as take care of reservations and communications with your tenants. So we'll go to tenant management, and our first program we'll go to tenant companies. And your tenant companies are where your tenants are held. So it'll be divided by each of your properties, and we can see our 3 tenants here. Now to add a tenant company is really simple. Up at the top left, you'll select new tenant company, and all that's really required is the name. You can enter more information like the suite number, the phone contact number, any kind of notes, billing info, lease start, lease expiration. You also have the option of sending an internal notification to someone specifically whenever a request is created for this tenant. So if there's like a manager, a higher up at a tenant company that say, hey, anytime someone submits a work order at this company, I want to get notified. All you have to do is enter their email address here, and anytime a work order gets created for this tenant, they'll get an email notification. And you just hit save when you're ready, and that's going to add them to this list. And as far as setting up the tenant goes, that's it. You're ready to create tenant users for them. You're able to create work orders, put insurance in the system and everything. No additional step required. We do have an additional step that we recommend, and that is the contacts option. So with each tenant company, you have kind of like a little mini phone book where you can keep contacts for that tenant company. So in this case, Castle Dental, if there's like a day-to-day contact or maybe an emergency contact, maybe like the lease contact, you can have all that information stored here, their phone number, their email, so that way if anyone ever needs to get in contact with Castle Dental, they can come here and they know, okay, I need to get in contact with this person. So you don't have to keep like a external phone book or be scrambling around trying to find an email with such so-and-so's contact info on it. You can keep all that right here. As far as removing a tenant company goes, so say Castle Dental, they move out. To remove someone, all you have to do is go to the update screen, and down here you have an active option. All you have to do is uncheck that, click save, and they're deactivated. You also have a delete option, but if a work order is created for the tenant, you won't be able to delete them. The system will stop you, and that's just because the tenant is tied to the work order, so it can't be deleted. Instead, you just deactivate it, and that way all of their information is kept. They're just not going to show in the system anymore. So related to the tenant companies is the tenant impact users, and these are going to be the employees of the tenant companies that can log in and create work orders, review work order history, create reservations, visitor check-ins, things like that. So we'll go into tenant impact users, and we see all of our users listed here. To get someone added, really simple as well. You just select new tenant impact user. You just select the property they're at, the tenant company that they'd be with, and then it's really just fill in the blank. You enter their name. You will need to create a username and password for them. The only requirement is that the password has to be 6 or more characters. Other than that, you can make it whatever you'd like. Our recommendation is usually the first initial last name for the username, and you can make the password the same thing. They do have the option of changing their password, so we usually make it simple just so they can get into the system, and they can always change it to something more strict if they so choose. And once you get all of the info added, you have the option here, send username and password to the user. And this allows you to email the username and password to the tenant directly. So you don't have to worry about jotting it down or sending a separate email. You can send all their information to them right through the system. So it saves you a nice step there. And once you get them added, they're able to log in immediately. So they can start putting in work orders, creating reservations, everything like that. Before we left this screen, I do just briefly want to mention the options that you have here. So this little pencil icon is to update if you ever needed to change their name, change their email address. You can deactivate them. You just uncheck the box, click Save, similar to the Tenant Company. The little envelope allows you to resend their username and password. So if down the line maybe they get a new device and they had their password saved and they can't remember what it is, you can just resend it to them very quickly, very easily. You can also include the Impact User Guide link, which is a link that's going to contain the tenant user guide. The little key is to reset their password. You don't need the current password to reset it. All you have to do, just create a new password, and that's going to override their old one. This little icon right here that looks like an arrow going to a screen, this allows you to log in as that tenant. And this just allows you to view Impact as they would. If you're ever curious about what they're seeing, maybe they call you, say, hey, I'm seeing this thing in Impact, could you explain what it is? You can log in as them while you're on the phone, and they can guide you to where their issue is. And the last is just the little clock here. That's the timestamp. The timestamp is just going to give you the timestamp history of this profile, when it was created, if it was updated, who updated it, when did they update it. It just kind of gives you a time log of this profile. Next, I want to look at the Reservations program. So if you remember in part 1, we briefly went through the Facility Resource Setup program, and that's the back end of the reservation system. So you can set up the conference room, everything like that. The Reservations program, this will be where all of the reservations are actually entered and maintained. So this calendar is something similar to what the tenants see. And creating a reservation is the same for the tenants. All you have to do is select the number in the date box, and you'll select the tenant, select the time that they want. We'll just say they want the conference room here 9 to 10. Requested by, you can use the little option here, and that's going to pull the contacts, the tenant users for this tenant, make it a little bit easier to fill out that info. You can add reservation notes if you'd like. Save is just going to create this reservation. Simple as that. The reservation's created. You can always go into it to update it. You can include add-ons, you can include attachments, you can create a work order if you need to do something special. Maybe it's an outdoor event and you have to do some kind of setup. You can create a work order to get that done. You can view the details of the conference room, and lastly, you have the opportunity to send the tenant a reservation package. And this is just an email that you can send. It can include like the reservation information, estimate, attachments, descriptions. Just kind of send them something to confirm their reservation, little introduction package there. And lastly, you can easily cancel a reservation by just going into it, select cancel, and you have the option of canceling the reservation and sending a cancel confirmation to the tenant, or you can just cancel it and not send anything. And that reservation's all gone there. Lastly, I want to go through our communication programs, and these allow you to communicate with tenants at a single property or across multiple properties. And those are going to be website memos, broadcast emails, and building announcements. So website memos allow you to create, upload, and share documents with the tenant users in the tenant portal. So when you create a website memo, it becomes available for the tenants in their forms and memos section, and you also have the option of emailing it out as well. So when I go and create a website memo, we see here that one is created. So it's very easy to create one. You attach new website memo. You select the file, add a description, select the properties it'll go to, and save it. And it'll appear as it does here. So right now at the Southwest Plaza property, this website memo is available for my tenants. You also have the broadcast option, so you can select broadcast and you can email this out. It's going to include my photo as an attachment on the email. So you have those two options. Again, you can email this out, or second, it's going to be available in the forms and memos section for your tenants. Secondly, we have the broadcast email program. And this is really simple. It just allows you to create a quick message and send it out to the tenants. So this is really good if you just wanted to, announce Happy Halloween, or you'll have, fire alarm testing tomorrow morning. Office will be closed on Friday. Just a good way to just quickly get an email out to all your tenant users. And by default, it'll get sent to the tenant users. You also have the option of sending it to the tenant company contacts. And if you remember earlier in the tenant company program, there are contacts that you can enter. You can choose to include those. You don't have to. By default, it will go to the tenant users though. And lastly, we have the building announcements program. So building announcements are going to display on the home page of the Impact Tenant portal. So it's a good way to highlight an announcement. Maybe you're opening up a new fitness room or something. You want to highlight something. So you can add it as a building announcement, and you also have this option of emailing it. So similar to the website memo, you can email it out to all your tenants. So I click on building announcement, and getting one added is really simple. You just select add building announcement, select the properties. By default, it'll go to all my properties. The name is going to be internal. This is what you want to call it, and I'll just call it Halloween message. And my headline, this is what's going to be displayed to the tenant as like a newspaper headline, something that catches their attention. So I'll say Happy Halloween. Then I have my announcement, and this is where you can type out the description and things like that. Sort is how you sort the building announcements. So if you have 3 building announcements, you can sort them 1, 2, and 3. That just tells the system what order you want them displayed in. And lastly, you can add an expiration date. So this is a Halloween message. I want this automatically taken down on the 1st. It's going to expire on the 1st, so it won't be available for my tenants any longer. And so right now, once you get it created, this building announcement is available for my tenants. And you do have some additional options if you need to update the building announcement, if you need to add an attachment to the building announcement, and you can also email it out. So it's really easy to do. You can include a custom message. You can modify this. You can tweak it however you would like. You can even schedule it to come out. So maybe you're working late at the office. It's 6, 7 o'clock. You don't want to send it out right now because no one's gonna see it. Everyone has already left. So you can schedule it to send out tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and that way, everyone's in the office bright and early. You can get that message out to them. And you can also choose who gets it. So you can choose all your tenant users, the TSR route, and you can also choose specific impact users, which are going to be your administrators, your property managers, your technicians. So if you just wanted to send it to just your tenants, you can uncheck the people there, and then you just hit confirm send, and that's going to email it out to all those people. And lastly, you can delete it, and you can view the timestamp history. So the building announcement is a really good way to highlight stuff at your property, announcements, things like messages, and things like that. And that pretty much concludes this Impact video user guide. Just a reminder that Impact is customized for each client, and therefore your Impact system may differ from the information provided in this user guide. For further questions, you're always welcome to contact us at support@impactsolutions.com or submit a support request in the Impact system. We're always happy to help in any way we can.